Looking for a guaranteed way to create content that resonates with your audience? Start a podcast. Interview your ideal clients and let them choose the topic of the interview. Because if your ideal clients care about the topic, there's a good chance the rest of your audience will care about it too. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome to B2B Growth. I am your host for today, Nikki Ivy at Sweetfish Media. I've got with me today Amy Wilde, Senior Marketing Manager at MarketStar. Amy, how you doing today?
Hey, Nikki. Doing great. Thank you.
Good. I'm so excited to talk to you today. We're going to be talking about white gloving your ABM, it's super buzzy, but it's something that a lot of folks are still needing a lot of help with these days. And I'm excited about, what you guys are doing with it. And so I'd love to jump in. But first, I'd love you to just take a few minutes to give us some background on you and what you and the folks at MarketStar are up to these days.
Yeah, I would love to. So I'm the Senior Marketing Manager here at MarketStar. And funny thing, I am the longest tenured female here at MarketStar with 20 years here. I came here pregnant with my son, who's now 19. So I've been here a long time, and I've seen the company grow and stretch. We recently got acquired by the Wasatch Group. So that is a local company that acquired us, and that expands our possibilities here. We are a outsourced sales and marketing company, and we work with some of the biggest brands in the world, and many of them you would recognize, but for privacy, I will not mention any of them, but they are very exciting and absolutely love my job. The best part is coming to work with people every day who I feel like Norm from Cheers, because I've been here so long, and I walk in and people know my name, and it's a really fun place to work and have an environment that supports your ideas.
Yes, all of the things. I know you and I were talking offline about some of the women in business things that you're involved in, right, and things that I've been involved in. And yes, to be in a place where everybody knows your name, and to be a female that tenured in this industry and in that role, which I know is not the topic of our discussion today, but with side note, like women getting it done, like, yes,
right.
Girl, I have to shout that out every time.
On that note, and not to take a tangent, but I do think it's really important to listen to people around you when they say, hey, you need to take a leap and do something different. And I had been doing the same thing here for 15 years, and then I had a senior marketing or senior manager above me say, I want you to take a risk. And that was the scariest thing I've ever done, and also the wisest thing, because it landed me in marketing in a position that I'm so super passionate about and very good at. So I think you got to listen to your inner voice on occasion and just take that risk.
Yes, I love it. I'm so glad. And one of the things that you have been doing is, turning that whole ABM thing inside out by white gloving the process. Mm-hmm. So let's start with just an overview, real quick. What do you mean by white gloving the process? And then we'll go into some of the little bullet pointed things about it. But just give us a quick overview first.
Well, the truth is ABM is defined very differently depending on who you're talking to and how they're finding success. For us here, how I'll define our ABM and what I'd like to have our conversation be about today is really how we're white gloving. And if you think about the whole term white glove, just means special and just a fantastic experience.
Mm-hmm.
And because our total addressable market is somewhere between 300 and 500 that we're going after,
Mm-hmm.
we can white glove and really hone in and make the experience very special for the accounts that we're going after and for the contacts that we're going after.
Yeah. And I think that that's kind of what all of ABM should be, right? The point of ABM is to white glove. And so what you guys are doing and what you just described is a key thing to understand before going into it. Talk a little bit about this concept of revitalizing your Rolodex as it sort of fits into that whole white glove approach.
Well, I think we all have contacts, and especially our business development team has deep contacts. They've been here many years and they have many industry leaders in their Rolodex. But if you really want to get in and revitalize it, you've got to look for if they've moved to a new company. Are they getting promoted? Do we need to send out a congratulatory? Is there something that they're doing that's exceptional? You've got to continue to develop those healthy relationships. So when the time is right to trigger an ABM, you have that relationship built not only to seek business from them, but maybe you want to evangelize that relationship and find other contacts in their Rolodex. Mm-hmm. So you always should be revitalizing and refreshing and building that relationship with your Rolodex.
This is something I was talking to some folks last night at sort of an after party event for the Serious Decision Summit, and we were talking about this idea of relationships being revenue, which aside from the part that I'm a fan of alliteration, kind of what you're talking about, right? And one of the other sort of facets of this that you talked about that goes along with paying attention to your Rolodex and looking for those triggers is the more alliteration, right? The stalking your subject part of that whole approach. Talk about that a little bit.
And, I mean, I'm a single woman. I know how to stalk. I mean, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to find out all the information.
Yes.
So I take that same approach that I do with dating to the marketing platform. And I know it's a little bit quirky, but it's true. We do have to stalk our subjects. And what I mean by that is, do they have a recent podcast out? Listen to it. Get to know them. Do they love you too? Oh, well, maybe we're going to put that in our list of things to send them. Do they love, for example, we had a guy that we ABM'd, and we found out via his Instagram that he loves rocks. So we went to a local rock shop here in Ogden and found him one of the most rare rocks in the United States. And it was tiny, but they're more precious than a diamond, but $10. And we sent that to him, and he was blown away. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe that we had done our research. So stalking there's a number of ways you can look at that, but you want to look from a professional standpoint, like what awards are they being called out for? What are they doing in the industry that really makes them a strong leader? And then on the other side, if you can marry that up with something that they're passionate about, like collecting rocks or their favorite band, then the relationship, if we go back to that revitalizing your Rolodex, it's even stronger. It creates this really strong instant bond when they receive the ABM.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. That's something that it's one of my favorite ways to sort of stand out and set things apart. And it takes a little bit of time. And I think when folks get too caught up in time investment versus some like instant gratification result, that's where you miss the point of ABM. So speaking of time put in, talk a little bit about the handwritten magic aspect of what you do when you're white gloving.
So the truth is you can certainly fake this. I mean, you can fake it. You can fake the handwritten notes. I can certainly write handwritten notes and fake them, but we don't do that here. And I'm going to tell you why, because people are smart enough now to know if it's written by the CEO here at MarketStar, or if it's written by me, who's pretending to be the CEO. One of our most successful campaigns, we did a whole string of these. When our new CEO was put in seat, he wrote a whole string of handwritten notes to people that we were interested in targeting on our on our target list. And it was beautiful. And he just wrote, hey, I would love to connect with you. I'm the new CEO at MarketStar. And just that simple note married with a personalized gift sent to them, we had a 90% rate of response. So
crazy.
Handwritten magic. It's magic.
I mean, 80%, there's, folks that would pay for that, but kill for that. That's incredible.
It's exciting. Now, we don't do this. We can't scale. We can't monopolize all of his time and scale to that level. But those that he participated in and that he continues to participate in have been wildly successful.
Right. And that's the point. And it sort of goes into this next idea of opening the door to attention. Talk a little bit about what that looks like in your white glove ABM approach.
Right. So these executive door openers, we do them really one of two different ways. We do either something highly custom, like I talked about with the rock, or we do something that's a one-to-many, but we're very, very selective, as with most ABM campaigns, on who that many might look like. We like to be less than 20 and find decision makers that report into one another and that roll up into one another. So we create this real buzz around who MarketStar is and what we're trying to sell, the solution that we're trying to sell. And the attention should be grabby. If it isn't grabby, they're going to throw it away. And I like to have it be a little bit quirky. One that we did just recently, I stalked a guy who was a VP of sales, but he was from Snyder, Texas, and they love their white buffalo there, and it's very sacred to them. So I sent him a white buffalo stuffed animal, and I said, "Yours rare is the white buffalo." And he wrote us right back and said, "Wait, tell me," and a little bit confused, like, "How did you? This is pretty cool." And he said, "I'm not the right person, but here is the right person."
Yeah.
And how many people would have done that? And, with the mass marketing, not very many, but with an ABM that's very catered and really gets your attention, it's working.
God, I love this stuff. And it seems like every one of these could actually have some parallel into dating. This next one is one of my favorite parallels, if I can be so candid. The art of anticipation. Amy, tell me about this one.
I feel like absolutely this goes into dating as well, but we have lost the art of anticipation. We give everybody what they want right away, and there's none of that wait. So I developed this, what we call the art of anticipation. So when we recognize the person that we want to target and we've written the note and we've figured out what we're going to send them, then we let them know, be on the lookout for an amazing gift handpicked just for you from our CEO. It's on its way. And that does a couple of things. One, we like to be excited over something. And two, often they respond and say, "Hey, here's my home address or my correct address." And we time and time again been able to course correct instead of sending it to headquarters, we send it to their home address. But it starts that anticipation, and I love that. Yeah, I love that.
This stuff it's so exciting, and I want to stop with a dating analogy, but quick like a fox follow-up. I mean, look, if you're not texting the next day, I mean, look,
right?
if you're not calling until 3 days later, come on.
So along with the art of anticipation, they're waiting for this gift, and when it arrives, then they open it. But if I don't ever reach back out, then it dies. Just like with any relationship. So our rule is to respond as quick as possible. Of course, with notifications, with mail carriers, we know exactly when they receive it. And again, this is a white glove approach. We know that you received this, and a lot of times we don't do the call to action during that call or email. We just say, "Did you get it?" I will be in touch next Tuesday. And that gives them a breath so they can enjoy the gift, if that makes sense. Like, we're thinking of you, we know you got it, and we're going to be in touch.
Yeah. And sort of the last aspect of this white glove approach that I want to make sure we talk about is keeping things warm when we don't get a response necessarily, and how to handle that within this.
Right. And I think that for us, we found that about 8 touches is plenty. And beyond that, the titles that we're working with, VP level and above, after 8, we don't want to ruin that relationship. But to keep it warm, how about sending them content, fresh content, either our content or maybe we listen to a great podcast that they would be interested in on ABM or any other number of subjects. Maybe we put out a new ebook, or maybe their favorite baseball team, the Giants, are looking good this year and we want to send them. And I don't really know if they are actually, but the Cubs are. The Cubs are looking good. And maybe we want to send them hey, I saw your team was doing really well. But you've got to mix it up and keep it warm and keep that relationship top of mind. And the other interesting thing is, with our sales cycle, it's about 6 to 9 months. We have a very long sales cycle. We find that people remember us far after the ABM has been completed and they're still talking about it. And then they pull us in and say, yep, we remember the gift you sent us and now we're ready to talk.
That's right. Yeah. It's having that intention and then just that long game vision.
Right.
That I think is like my favorite part of ABM, that and all the dating references. I love this approach. Thank you so much for outlining it for us. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, we were talking a little bit about it offline, is, what Sweetfish is trying to do here is be a resource hub for folks in the space that they could come to and just learn about who's executing these things right and what they're using. But I'm always interested in what the folks who I'm talking to are finding as learning resources that sort of inform their process. So what are you and your team, what are you reading, what are you listening to that you're excited about or that informs your approach?
I love it. So one of the best places for learning just about marketing in general and ABM to be included and all kinds of lead nurturing is the HubSpot blog. And this one it's very interactive and full of great content and great information. We use that one quite a bit. And as a best practice, our business development and marketing team, we are in lockstep. And that has to be the case for successful ABM campaigns and successful revenue generating teams. And we share continually TED Talks, podcasts, articles. I'll come into work and there'll be an article on my seat that somebody has thought, hey, Amy would probably recognize and appreciate this as a value add. Mm-hmm. So I would like to challenge the listeners to make it a point to use their own library of knowledge and intelligence and share that with their coworkers and with members on their business development and marketing team. It creates a really fun synergy. And truthfully, it's all about relationships at work too. It's not just about building relationships for revenue. It's about building relationships so that you can be creative together.
Yes. And real quick, because this has been so much fun and so informative, I just know that folks are going to want to connect with you, Amy. Let us know how folks can reach out and stay in touch with you.
Well, I would love any ads on LinkedIn. Those are my favorite because I can share and then I can get to know you too. So my name is Amy Wilde, MarketStar on LinkedIn. And of course, you can also reach me if you have any follow-up questions. You're welcome to email me at awilde, WILDE, @marketstar.com. And I'd be happy to continue any discussions on ABM. I am I'm the expert here, but I'm not the only expert. And I'm always on the lookout for a networking group.
Yes. And I can't let you go without acknowledging this. Am I allowed to talk about your recent invitation?
Yes.
So Amy let me know that she's actually been invited to do a TED Talk. So add that to your list of forthcoming resources, right? So we'll be sharing your TED Talk before long. Thank you so much. Like I said, this has been so much fun. I look forward to everything you've got coming out and hopefully having you on the show again after your TED Talk.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nikki.
We totally get it. We publish a ton of content on this podcast, and it can be a lot to keep up with. That's why we've started the B2B Growth Big Three, a no-fluff email that boils down our 3 biggest takeaways from an entire week of episodes. Sign up today at sweetfishmedia.com/big3. That's sweetfishmedia.com/big3.